Hello, welcome back, and I'm really excited to welcome to the studio Trudi and Gavin Chatelier. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ken.
Of the Chatelier family singers. I don't know how many years ago it was, I sat in church and there was you, Gavin, with, what was it, 16 kids? How many is it you've got?
Back then, probably 6 kids.
Six kids.
Now
and
7.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Trudi there in the front row, keeping a motherly eye on proceedings and making sure it all went according to plan. How many years did you travelled and performed together, didn't you? How many years did you do that?
Our music ministry now, we'd be going, like Jessica's now 22.
Okay.
So she was about 3 years old when I started hitting the stage, you know, with her coming up and
so
doing
do the
some stuff
that's
with
19
me.
years.
Yeah.
19 years you've been
20.
sort of performing as a
That's
family.
it. Yeah.
And for how many of those years, Trudi, were you actually like caravanning around Australia and travelling and, you know, providing distance education for your kids and all that sort of stuff?
Well, they were always doing distant education because we would just travel on weekends and different things like that, not so much big trips. So then you'd leave on Friday and that sort of thing, so it was hard to keep them in school because you'd be unsettling them all the time. But probably about 10 years of that, I'd say.
10 years, wow.
Yeah, of travelling, you know, within Australia and overseas.
And how did that go from a parenting point of view? I mean, you know, being cooped up in a van together.
Organised chaos, Ken.
6 kids.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when a family, you know, gets up the front and sings together, people look at that and they go, wow, you know, what an inspiration, you know. Isn't it good to see a family doing something together, you know, making a positive, you know, contribution? Did it feel like that from your angle, you know, when you were there?
Absolutely. I mean, it was for us, but also sobering because we, you know, I always tried to be transparent on stage. There was one line that I had, is, you know, if you had a video camera in our home, you'd see that we have our ups and downs too, you know. People want to put you up on a pedestal, but we let people know we had struggles and things like that, and it was only because of the music and the prayer and the family worship that kept focusing us back so that we could hit the stage together, you know, happily. Yeah.
It's I actually have an inside knowledge about this a little bit because I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and my parents were both into music, and we quite a few times, you know, were up the front of different churches playing and performing. And, it's the Kingston family, the Von Kingston family singers, they used to call us. You've probably got a few Von Trapp jokes too, haven't you?
Absolutely. Chatelier family singers, like the Von Trapp family singers.
That's right.
Yeah.
And people sort of have this vision of the perfect Christian family, and we're all rolling our eyes. Oh, Dad, these daggy songs, you know, all this country folk sort of stuff. And that's what you do, isn't it, Gavin? Country sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was. That's how I saw music ministry, only Jesus music ministry. You know, focused on that. But we, you know, I would sing these songs that I knew and I loved, so I'd teach the children. And you know, they came on board in their younger years. They're going through a lot of transition now, where they're discovering their own music and style. But it's like that behind the scenes. You know, I didn't have to bribe them or anything. You know, because it was part of our home family worship. So I'd a lot of times say it's not a concert when we do our programs. This is family worship, and I think that's where the kids and all of us were focused in a different way. You know, Dad singing, a singing dad. That's the way I saw myself. And
so you guys obviously played a lot of churches around the place.
Yes.
I saw you play at a community festival one time.
Right.
You also went to the Tamworth Country Music Festival.
Yeah.
You do that pretty much every year, don't you?
Yeah, that's 5 years running now. And I've got my belt buckle and everything. I'm proud of that.
Big boots.
Out in the street, invested in the boots and put the hat on and do our country music, the gospel stuff. I also sing for weddings, a lot of Christian weddings, so I do love songs, and so I've recorded 5 albums there too. And we're in the street for about 6 to 8 hours.
So how do people respond to you, like when you're in the street? You're there with just a mainstream secular audience. This isn't church people, but you're singing gospel songs. What sort of feedback do you get?
Well, I do some of the other wholesome love songs that pull people in, and then it gives me a chance to sort of bridge
I've seen your Elvis act, Gavin. I mean, come on. Wholesome love songs, he says.
Well, you know, I mean, what I tell people is, if you see me do any shaking, that's for my wife.
Oh, okay.
So is that okay? Yeah.
Now, you come to the teenage years, you know, the kids grow up, they're no longer daddy's little boy and daddy's little girl anymore. They start to develop, you know, lives of their own. How did that impact on your family, Trudi?
It impacted us pretty hard because we had, you know, we were just going along nicely, and then you start to be challenged in your parenting because you see your child, you know, having their own opinions and different things. And for myself, it was a very challenging time because I had to really look at myself and take a step back and say, wow, what am I actually doing here to my children? Because I started to see
you had them contained, didn't you?
That's right, that's right, all in a row, yeah, that's right, you know, all organised and planned, you know. Yep. And I started to realise, wow, you know, I can't just put my journey onto my children's, you know, their journey, and they have to grow themselves. And it was a really hard transitioning time for me because it was a letting go and really handing them over to the Lord and saying, Lord, they are yours, you take them, and you talk to them and speak to them. I'm here to guide them, but ultimately I can't read their motives or their heart or the things they're doing. This is yours. So
wow, sounds like you really learnt a lot.
Oh, I did. My dependence on God has just really, my faith has just exploded, and I found that just leaning on the Lord more and more.
And these are good kids, aren't they? I mean,
they are good kids. They're great kids.
Now. Your grandparents.
Hard-working kids, responsible, you know, citizens.
But still,
and that type of thing. Letting go is tough because I think we have as parents our dreams and aspirations, and I think even spiritually for our children, we want to see them strong with the Lord, and we want to, you know. And I realised I couldn't give my journey to them. They have to experience hurt, they have to experience life, failure, everything, and then that will shape their journey and their life and their walk with God. And that was a big learning curve. And I think from me, with my background, I was very protective, very, because I'd been hurt. And you know, different things had happened to me, insecurities and things like that. And
I had that for your kids.
That's right. I had fears, and I didn't want to. Them to be hurt in the same way. And the Lord had to teach me, no, they're mine, step back, and more or less get out of the way and let me take them, because I was in the way.
Because the reality was that when we were responding initially to it, there's no school, Kent, that teaches us, and we could see some frustrations with the kids, anger that wasn't characteristic of them. So, you know, that was a concern that we thought, wow, and Trudy and I got on our knees and said, Lord, show us who we are and who you are. And once we learnt a little bit more of that, we started responding differently, and wow, you know, the children drew back to us.
And I sense it's brought you two closer together as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Even within our marriage, you know, there was times I was judging Gavin's motives, even over his music, everything, you know, things he would come out with, and I'd be saying, you know, again, controlling that. You can't sing that, you can't do that, you know, and controlling him and trying to contain him, you know. But I've learnt that actually he's on his own journey too, and the Lord will lead him into where he should be.
It's great to see Trudy here, you know. She's always been behind the scenes. Now she speaks at our programs, and I sing. You know, and so that conversion for her too. I don't know if you want to tell them, but you got rebaptised too out of that experience.
Rebaptised out of that experience.
It was great to see her taking her own journey instead of behind me in a lot of ways, hiding behind me. You know.
So the journey continues and the music continues.
It's great.
Hey, thanks so much for your time, Trudy.
Hey, look, I've
Gavin.
got a present for you. Only Jesus Music Ministry. There's my
Oh, here we go.
album,
Is this your latest CD?
Yeah.
Gavin, is the kids sing on some of these songs too?
Not that one, but there's quite a few other.
Well, this is just you.
That's
Gavin's Golden Tonsils. They're worth listening to. Hey, thanks very much, Gavin and Trudy. Really appreciate your time. Don't go away, because we'll be right back with Gavin playing out the show.